Welcome back to FordeeTV. I'm your host, Fordee. Today we're starting a new series on the channel called Household Beats. The idea behind this series is that we're gonna make cool and unique sounds to be used in your productions with stuff you can find around your house, right? So, as you can see, I have a mic stand here set up with an SE Electronics 2200A mic and a vocal isolation thingamabob. I don't know if that's a technical term, yo. I forget who it's from. Maybe it's from SE as well. I don't know. I'll leave it in the description. Anyways, we are connected into my Apollo Twin, which currently is recording in Ableton. So today's instrument or sound effector or what we're gonna play with is a Wisk. This puppy is not just used to make pancakes or to spank your girlfriend with. I don't know what you guys use yours for, but I use mine to make beats, yo. Or we're about to. Let's see what we can come up with. So right now we're recording, hopefully not too much noise outside. I'll get a little bit of room tone with, okay. I'm actually a professional. I don't know what that's gonna sound like. Let's see what we can come up with, and let's hop over into Ableton, yo. See, we're in Ableton. I have a track named Wisk here with Wisk 7 as a clip. The reason we have Wisk 7 is because there were tons of honking and so forth outside during each of the first 6 takes. So anyway, we've got Wisk 7 loaded. It has a bunch of audio because it was recording as I was doing the first part, explaining what this tutorial is going to be about, etc. I've gone over here and isolated one of the sounds. If I press the play here, is just playing one of the sounds from that Wisk, right? So what I want to do is I want to bounce this part to another track. I'll go ahead and turn loop off right here. I'll press Command T on my keyboard to create a new audio track. We'll highlight the track. We'll press Command R on our keyboard to rename it, and we'll call this Wisk Revised, right? Next, we're gonna say audio from. We're gonna come from, instead of the external in, we'll switch it to the track called Wisk, and then we'll turn on, or we'll arm it for recording. Next, we're gonna go ahead and press that to play, but what we wanna do is press that to play and then wait, and then press this to record. There we go. So it's recorded at once. I stopped it by pressing the spacebar on my keyboard. If I jump back over here, you'll see we have that little audio file. It doesn't really start to 2 right here, and that's fine. It ends, looks like somewhere around here. We'll play this just to hear what it sounds like. Sweet. So now that's by itself. I'm gonna leave it on loop for now. This particular Wisk track, I'm gonna drag it down one and then make sure this one is stopped, and I'm gonna, whoops. I'm going to drag this to the front and I'm going to hide it, if you will, because we don't really need it at the moment. We'll just leave it right there. I'll select this clip in the Wisk Reviz track. Next, I'm going to do several things to it. I'll come over here to my plugins. If you have a denoiser, this is a good time to denoise this particular thing. So I'm dropping this here. I'll leave that for a second with the default settings, right? Next, I'm going to go into my audio effects and select a compressor. Drop this in afterward. I'm also going to grab an EQ8. Where are you, buddy? Bam! So the EQ8, I'm going to drag to the front. And the thing about the EQ8 is I actually had on the mic a low pass or a high pass filter on. And so what we're going to do is we're going to drop the lows from 150 Hertz, right? I'll drop the Q to 0.1, and we'll leave this here to get rid of any possible mud because there's no bass or intended bass sounds in this particular sound effect that we're making. Next, I have the denoiser here. In order to make sure that we're hearing what's going on here, I'm going to drop some compressor settings. I'll set it at 6 to 1. I'm going to drop the threshold down, way down. I'll drop the attack. I'll set the release to auto, and let's play it and hear what we hear. There we go. There we go. You can even hear outside, right? So what we can do is bring the reduction up higher and drop the threshold a little bit, and then turn up our makeup gain on the compressor. Now, mind you, this particular sound is tinny, if you will, on by design. I mean, that's what a Wisk is. It's small pieces of metal, right? So obviously with this particular denoiser, you have to be careful with these settings. These are over dramatized settings, but it's okay because the sound is already tinny to begin with. However, if this particular sound had a little bit more fullness, if you will, then you'd have to be real careful. You couldn't drag these to these kind of extremes with certain sounds. So it's just something to take note of. I'll play this again. Sweet. Now we're getting somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. I like the sound we've got right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to go down to slice to new MIDI track. I'll take the defaults and I'll say OK. So now we have Wisk revision 1, and now this is in MIDI. Let me grab my MIDI keyboard that's set right here. I'm looking for space on the desk. So if I look right here, right, we have only, let's see, where are you? Okay, so we have these 3 keys right here. That's it. Those are the only 3 sounds it took from here to make this, right? Well, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this drum track right here. Turn off the audio from Wisk revision. I'm going to play this drum track, and then I'm just going to play some weird combination of these things. In order to hear this better, I'll drop a compressor down. I'll set this to 4 to 1. Let's see, drop some threshold. Let's drop it. Okay, there we go. Maybe even drop this down a little bit, turn it to auto. Okay, we can fix that later. So now we're hearing the sound. I know it's playing on these 3 keys on my keyboard. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna select this track. It's already set to arm to record, and I'm gonna play something in while this bass or this drum loop is playing. So I'll come here, I'll press record. First I'll make sure everything is turned off. I'll play the drum loop, and then I'll record some MIDI note data. So I actually have no idea what I just played because this is not sounding in competition to the rest. But let's see. If I switch over here, you'll see I played all these notes crazily, semi to the beat, etc. I'll select all of them. I'll press Command U on my keyboard to quantize them, and then I'll make sure that this starts right here. The bar 1, beat 1, if you will, starts right there. So I'll play this. Boom. We're getting some musicality going on in here. Actually, we have a compressor, right? I'm going to switch this to 5 to 1. All right, sweet. We're getting somewhere. I'm going to come back over here to the Wisk revision. I think I'm gonna drop this just a little more, pump this just a little bit more. Let's play it again. Soloed. Sweet, we're getting somewhere. Now, why don't we add an arpeggiator over in the beginning of this MIDI note data? So we'll come over here to MIDI effects, we'll select arpeggiator, we'll drop it in the front. Instead of going up, why don't we switch it to random? Why not, right? I'm going to change the rate, I think, to 16 notes. I'm going to bring the gate up to maybe 90 something. Let's hear how this sounds. Maybe even drop the rate to 8 notes and maybe bring this gate to 80 or 85. Let's see. Sweet, it's starting to sound like something. That's cool. I like the way the arpeggiator is right there. We'll leave it for a second. Let's switch over to audio effects and let's look for a reverb, right? I'll switch over to reverb, special. Let's try the 6 seconds. I'll drop the size down quite a bit, and the dry wet maybe down to, I don't know, 8%. Let's hear. With and without. That's starting to sound nice. I think we need some kind of delay, no? Why don't we use a ping pong delay? We'll drop it on over here. We'll set it to on the 5th note. Maybe the 8th. Maybe the 3rd. There we go. I like something like that. Dropping the feedback down, the dry wet down a little bit. Let's hear this in conjunction with the drum loop. And let's add another compressor because we want it, right? Again, we'll put this like a 4. We'll drop the attack down. We'll set the release to auto, bring the threshold. Sweet, there we have it. Why don't we play it with the way it was and then what we did to it and see where we came from and where we got to, right? So I'll go ahead and turn this off. I'll turn this off. I'll play the original Wisk sound. Just a little whatever. And now this is the sound we ended up with. And then with drums, yo. Guys, I hope you liked this tutorial and it inspired you to create your own Wisk sounds. Please, if you do, add a link in the comments so we could check them out. Until next time, I'm out.